Good morning. So we're going to continue with the work that we were doing yesterday. We left off with example 11. So today we're going to start with example 12. Just like you did yesterday, take out binder paper, put your heading at the top. You're going to start with number 12. Fold your paper, product on one side, process on the other. And just like yesterday, this is going to be worth 10 points. So you want to make sure you're staying focused. You're completing your work when the video is paused. That pause is not for you to stop working. That pause is your work time. And then when the video continues, check and see how you did. Just like I did yesterday, once I've gone over or taken a look at what the answer should be, I'm clearing the work that I've written down. This is not for you to wait until I give you the answer and then start writing. So if you kind of got frustrated yesterday because I didn't have enough time to write this down, it's because you are not making good use of the time when I say pause the video. That's what I mean. That's your work time, and then you're just checking to see how you did. Remember, I'm going to be looking at how complete your work is. If you've got a little mistake in there that you weren't able to go back and fix, that's fine. I want to see that you are thinking and working and doing product and process. If you are not showing your work and all you have is an answer, I don't know if you just wrote that down at the end or if you did it in your head or what happened. You need to show your work if you want complete credit. So here we go with number 12. And we have 5 friends went bowling. Each person rented a pair of shoes for $4.25, bought a soda for $3, and each hour of bowling costs $35 for the group. So on your product side, I want you to list the 3 things that I underlined here. This is going to be $4.25 for each person. And a soda, that's going to be a soda for each person. The 5 friends are not sharing one soda. So each person bought rented shoes for $4.25 and bought a soda for $3. So you should be indicating that on the product side. You've got 5 people. Each one paid $4.25 and $3 for a soda. And then each hour of bowling costs $35, but that's for the group. That's one cost for all 5, not $35 each. So you're going to record the important information that you need to use. And then on the process side, take a look at each of these expressions and which expression would be the correct one to show what each person paid and each hour of bowling, $35 for each hour for the group. Okay, so pause the video here for 2 minutes because you're going to need to take a look at which one of these expressions is correct for the information that you have. Remember, the $4.25 and the $3, each person paid that amount. The $35 is for the number of hours that they're bowling, but it's one amount per group. So pause here, 2 minutes, check back in, and we'll see how you did. Okay, so I'm going to look at this first one here. And this says H is going to be the variable to represent the hours that they were bowling. And this is saying H times $4.25 and $3. Well, I'm thinking that can't be correct because that's what they paid for the shoes and for the soda. And then there were 5 people times $35. Well, again, the $35 for each hour for the group. So absolutely not that one. So let's look at B. $4.25 plus the number of hours times $3 plus $35. Well, the $3 was for the soda that each person purchased. The $35 is per hour for the group. So that's not correct. Now, looking at C, this is 5 times $4.25 plus $3 plus $35. Well, the $5 times $4.25 and $3, I would agree with, because each person paid that amount. So that would be a way to represent it. But again, the $35 is for the group. Each person is not paying that. So because of that amount that they included in the parentheses, I say no. So now I've got 5 times $4.25 plus $3. Well, that's the shoe rental and the soda. And there were 5 people in the group. So yeah, that looks correct to me. Plus 35 times H. Well, remember the H, the variable H, represents the number of hours they were bowling. This does not tell us how many hours, but we know for each hour, it's going to be $35. So this is the one that you should have written in the process side. And if you did, good job. If you had one of the other ones in there, you might want to make a note as to why it was not correct. Or just know that if you picked one of these other ones, then you were being tricked by some of the information that they put in here. Okay? So, taking a look at 13. The capacity of a propane tank is 7.1 or 7 1/10 gallons. Capacity means the amount of gas that the tank can hold. It costs $17.04 to fill an empty tank. Identify the equation and solution to find P, the price per gallon of propane. Again, what I want you to do on the product side is list your information, the capacity or the amount of propane that a tank can hold is 7 1/10 gallon, and it cost $17.04 to fill an empty tank. And you're going to be looking at which of these equations, including the amount, because this tells you to also work out the price per gallon of propane. Which one of these would be the correct answer for the amount of information they're giving you and the equation and solution to find the amount of propane for the tank, given the information that you have. So pause the video here. You may need to do a little bit more thinking and going back and looking at your information. So pause the video here for 3 minutes. And keep in mind the information that you have. On the process side, you're going to write the information for either A, B, C, or D that you think is correct for this problem. So pause the video here, 4 minutes, take a look at each of them, and then write down the one on the process side that you think is correct. Okay, so I'm looking at this first one. And $17.04 subtract P equals 7 1/10. The price of propane was about $9.94 per gallon. And I'm looking at the way that this is written here. I am not agreeing with this whatsoever. You know that this is the cost to fill an empty tank. And we are trying to find out the price per gallon of propane. This is not leading you to the price per gallon. So absolutely not. And I'm looking at B. And $17.04 plus 7 1/10 equals the price of propane. Well, again, this is the cost to fill an empty tank, and this is the number of gallons that the propane tank can hold. So I don't see how you can add those two together to get a price per gallon. That is not good number sense at all. So now I'm looking at $17.04 divided by 7 1/10 is going to equal the cost of the propane. The price of the propane was $2.40 per gallon. Well, if I'm looking for per gallon, I want to find how much it's going to cost for one. Basically, you're looking for a unit rate. These two here, where you're adding and subtracting, it's not getting you to a unit rate. So if I divide the amount of gallons that a tank can hold into the cost that was paid to fill an empty tank, that's going to give me the amount of money for 1 gallon, which is what I want. So I'm going to circle this, and then I'm going to take a look at this last one. And this is P, the price per gallon, times the amount that you paid to fill a tank equals 7 1/10. Well, that doesn't make any sense at all, because if I want to know the price per gallon, I'm not going to multiply that by the amount that I paid to fill a tank. And so this does not make any sense whatsoever. So if you had C as your correct answer and you picked up on the per gallon, and that had to be a unit rate, and division is what you need to do. Dividing the number of gallons into the amount of money that you paid to fill the tank would be getting you a unit rate. Then good job on that. Okay, now taking a look at 14, and I'm going to have you draw your coordinate plane on your product side. And this is positive, positive. X is positive, Y is positive. X is negative, Y is positive. X is negative, Y is negative. And this actually looks like it's 1 plus 1. That's not what I want. I want Roman numeral 3. Okay? And X is positive, Y is negative. Well, which coordinates reflect 18, X is 18, Y is negative 15 over the x-axis? This is your x-axis. This is your Y. Remember when we did reflections? And if I am reflecting something, like if you're looking in a mirror and you see your reflection, this is what it's asking. So if it's going to reflect over the x-axis, and these are your points, which one would be the reflection of this? So pause the video here, take 2 minutes, make sure you have your coordinate grid in the product side. This is so you can see where the points are. And the process side, I want you to explain why you believe whatever you select here is the correct answer for a reflection of this over the x-axis. So what you might want to do once you have your coordinate plane made is think about where you would find these points to begin with and what it would look like if it was reflected over the x-axis. So 2 minutes. Your product, again, is going to be this. Your process is going to be your explanation for whichever set of points you select. Okay? 2 minutes, go. Okay, so if I'm looking at x is positive, y is negative, well, that would have to be here. X is positive, y is negative. And if I am going to reflect over the x-axis, my coordinate points would have to be in this quadrant. So if this is positive and this is negative, and it's being reflected over the x-axis, my numbers are going to be the same. But if they're in this axis, x is positive, y is positive. And it would have to be this one here. Okay? 18, -18, -15, that would put that in this. And that's being reflected over the y-axis if you did that. Okay? And -18, 15, so that would be then in this side here, and you would have gone diagonally across, and that is not a reflection. And 15, -15, that is the same point that you have for y, so that absolutely is not correct. You changed the value of x. So the only one that it could be is you're starting here, and if it's reflecting over the x-axis, you're going to end up in quadrant 1. And your process should include that explanation. This is where you started, this is where you ended up. Now, let's take a look at 15. This graph represents the height requirements to ride a pony at the fair. So you have to be between 36 inches and 48 inches. Which statement represents the graph? And I'm paying particular attention to the fact that I have circles that are filled in. It's not an open circle. And remember when we talked about graphing statements or graphing either equalities or inequalities, and if it's an open circle or a closed circle, what that means. So I want you to draw this graph that you see here on the product side, and your process side is going to be explaining which of these statements you think is the correct answer and why. So take 3 minutes to draw the graph. Consider what this is telling you. You've got 36 inches, 48 inches. You've got a line in between. So you know it's from 36 to 48, but that closed circle is what you need to think about. What does that mean? And pause the video, come back in 3 minutes. Okay, so thinking back to when we were graphing inequalities and graphing equations or graphing expressions, and you had a closed circle, a filled-in circle. We had said it was like holding something in your hand. That number that's below the circle is part of your solution. And I see that this is closed, so I know 36 must be a part of it. And 48 is closed, so 48 has to be part of the answer. It includes 48, it includes 36. So I'm looking at, let's start with D here. Only people shorter than 36 inches are not allowed to ride the pony. Well, that is not true because it's 36 to 48. So it does not only include people who are shorter than 36 inches. Any person shorter than 48 inches can ride the pony. Again, that's not true because I've got a 36 here. So that tells me that's a boundary and this is a boundary. So that cannot be a correct answer. A person must be at least 36 inches tall to ride the pony. Well, that certainly includes this part here. You have to be 36 inches tall. You can't be less than 36 is part of your answer. But I'm also seeing that there's something here at this end. So it's not just 36. So that's not a complete explanation. A person must be 36 inches or taller and 48 inches or shorter to ride the pony. So 36 inches, you can ride the pony. 48 inches, you can ride the pony. 48 and a half inches, so sorry, out of luck. 35 and a half inches, so sorry, out of luck. So 36 or taller, 48 or shorter. That is the correct answer for this one. And again, your process should have included the statement that you think was correct and why. Now on to 16. Choose all the pairs of rational numbers that are correctly compared with this symbol. And the symbol they're giving you is greater than. So take a look at all of these rational numbers and which one, if you put this symbol in each of these boxes, would be a correct statement or would be a true statement. So pause the video here, take 3 minutes, consider each of these statements, and on the product side, I want you to write the statements that you think are correct. And on the process side, you're going to explain why. And your explanation should include what you know about negative numbers, because all of these are negative numbers. So product side, you're going to write all of the pairs of rational numbers that are correct when you include the greater than symbol. And your process side is going to explain why you think those are correct statements. So 3 minutes and go. Okay, well, I'm going to start from A and go all the way down. And I'm going to take a look at negative 37 and 41 hundredths. If I put the greater than symbol here, is this a true statement? Negative 37 and 41 hundredths is greater than negative 37 and 42 hundredths. Well, if I were to put these on a number line, I would have negative 37 and 41 hundredths, negative 37 and 42 hundredths. And if 0 were here, this would be closer to 0. So this is a true statement. And negative 37 and 37 hundredths is greater than negative 41 and 42 hundredths. Well, I'm looking at my whole numbers. And negative 37 is greater than negative 41. That is a true statement. So the decimal part of each number is not a contributing factor. This whole number is greater than this whole number. So this statement is correct. Now I'm looking at C. Negative 41, negative 37. Well, if I were to put those on a number line, this would be closer to 0. So I cannot put a greater than symbol here. That is not a correct statement. And I'm looking at these last two. The numbers are exactly the same, but this is a negative. This is a positive. That is not a true statement. So the only two that are correct statements are A and B. And again, your explanation should include why they're correct statements, why you believe they're correct statements. Now, place the absolute values in order from least to greatest. Remember, absolute value means distance from 0. The absolute value of negative 7 is 7. Okay? And take a look at all of your numbers here. Place the absolute value from least to greatest. So pause the video here. Take 4 minutes, because you're going to have to write the ones that you think are correct. And you need to consider looking at the numbers and what the absolute value of each number is, and then write the correct order from least to greatest. The statement or statements that you think are correct need to be on the product side. The process side is going to be your explanation as to why you think that's correct. So pause the video here, 4 minutes. Consider all of them an absolute value and write the one that or ones that you think are correct. Ready? Go. Okay, well, if I look at these numbers here, absolute value of negative 7 is 7. Absolute value of 4. Remember, absolute value was never negative. This is going to be 18. This is going to be absolute value is 13. Absolute value is 14. And if I'm going to put these numbers in order from least to greatest, 4 would be first. This would be second. You're going to write this, not just 7. You're going to write it with absolute value. And then would be 13, and then would be 14, and then would be 18. And that would be the correct one. Again, your explanation, your process side, is going to be explaining why. Absolute value is never negative. Absolute value means distance from 0 on a number line. And if you're looking for it from least to greatest, that would be your explanation for this. Okay, and this is going to be used to answer questions 18 to 20. You are not going to be copying this grid down. You are not going to put that on either the product or the process side. And you may need to have the screen or have the image. I'm not sure if we're able to make that larger with the video. If you're having a difficult time seeing it, put your hand up and ask permission. If you need to move, do not get out of your seat and say, I can't see, so I'm moving. And remember, if you do need to move up, that does not mean you move up and start talking to the person next to you. Okay? So you have a map here, and you have different locations indicated by the the points that have been plotted and labeled. Which expression represents the distance between the nail shop here and the hair salon here? And they're giving you sets of points. So which expression would represent the distance between the nail shop and the hair salon? So pause the video here for about 3 minutes because the students may need a little bit more time to really take a look at what this number represents and what it is that they need to be explaining. So pause the video here and then come back in after, what did I say, 3 minutes. Okay, go. Okay, so I'm looking at, this is -6, -2. X is -6, Y is -2. X is -6, Y is -6. I want to know the distance between here and here. Well, my X did not change. Y changed. So I'm looking at my options here. -2 plus -6. And it's in parentheses, so that's not absolute value. I'm thinking if I want to know the distance between, I need absolute value. So I know this one can't be it. I have -6 plus -2. Well, I want the distance between these two. So adding would not be correct. I would not be adding that. -6 plus -6. Well, that would be adding the X, and that X did not change. -6, subtract the absolute value of -6, subtract the absolute value of -2. Well, this is the absolute value. This is -6. This is -2. If I want to know the distance between these two, that would be what you should have selected. And your explanation would be because your Y coordinate is different, you want to know the distance between them. So you would subtract your two Y coordinates. So let's take a look at this one. Again, it's the same grid. Choose each true statement. And you have a donut shop will open 1 unit from the car wash. Well, here's the car wash. And a donut shop. Seeing a sandwich shop, coffee shop. It could be located. See if that helps. Oh, hasn't opened yet. It could open or will open at -3, 8. -3, 8 would be here. So would that be a true statement? We'll open 1 unit from the car wash. Here's the car wash, and it could be located at -3, 8. And then you have to decide, is that a true statement? The key man and the coffee shop reflect each other over the x-axis. The key man and the coffee shop. The car wash is located at 4, -6. So you're going to be checking the points for the car wash. And is that a true statement? And the laundromat is in quadrant 1. Laundromat, here's the laundromat, is in quadrant 1. So you're going to compare, or you're going to look at each of these statements, and on the product side, you're going to write the statements that you believe are the true statements and why. So you're going to need to take a look at the grid again and consider each of the statements. So go ahead and take 4 minutes to evaluate each statement. And on the product side, you are going to write only the statements that you believe are true. And on the process side, you're going to explain why you think it's true. For instance, you may explain because when I count the squares, I count this number, or if I'm looking at a reflection, the which points stay the same, which points change. Okay, so just evaluate each statement. Only write the correct ones on the product side, and the process side, you're explaining why you think it's true. 4 minutes, go. Okay, so a donut shop will open 1 unit from the car wash. It could be located at X is -3, Y is 8. Well, this is -3, 8. This is the car wash. And if I go over 1, there's 1 unit, but then it's up 2. So that is not a true statement. The key man and the coffee shop reflect each other over the x-axis. Well, the key man and the coffee shop. This is 3, 3, X is 3, Y is 3. And the coffee shop, X is 3, Y is -3. X did not change, but Y did. And this is 3 units from 0. This is 3 units from 0. That is a reflection. So B is correct. The car wash is located at 4, -6. Well, the car wash is here. Yeah, that is not 4. That's -4. So that is not a true statement. The laundromat is in quadrant 1. Well, here's the laundromat. This is quadrant 1. That is a true statement. So the only 2 you should have written on the product side are B, the statement for B, and the statement for D. And your explanation would be why you believe those are correct. Now, how far is the car wash from the market? Well, here's the car wash. Here's the market. How far is the car wash from the market? Well, we've done examples similar to this before. And you know that if you want to go from here to here, there's a couple of different ways you could do it. Okay? So you might need a moment or two to take a look at what method you want to use to figure out how far it is from the car wash to the market. So pause the video here for 2 minutes, and then we're going to check back in and see how you did. Okay, so the easiest way to find the distance is I'm just going to count the squares. If I'm starting here, this is not going to count as 1. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You could have also subtracted the absolute value, or added, not subtracted, sorry, added the absolute value of -4 and 3. The absolute value of -4 is 4. 4 plus 3 is 7. Either way, either counting the squares or adding the absolute values would have given you the correct answer. Now, consider this scenario. This is the scenario. During Saturday's game, for every goal the Dragons scored, the Titans scored 3. So the Dragons scored 1. The Titans scored 3. Okay, and then you're going to decide if these statements are true or false. And for the product side, I want you to write the statement. And on the process side, I want you to explain if that statement is true or false, or why, and why. So on the product side, you're going to write this first statement. Across from it in process, you're going to explain it's true because or it's false because. And then you're going to write the next statement on the product side. And across from it, on the process side, you're going to explain if it's true or false. Okay, so for each 4 statements, you're going to record the statement. And on the process side, you're going to explain if it's true or false and why. So take 5 minutes for this, and we'll check back in 5 minutes. Remember, you're writing the whole statement. Don't just put A and T or F. Write the statement, and across from it, is it true or false and why? What is your reasoning? Okay, 5 minutes, go. Okay, so let's take a look at the first statement. If the Dragons scored 3 goals, the Titans scored 9 goals. Well, if for every goal the Dragons score, Titans score 3, if they scored, the Dragons had 3, then this is going to be a multiple of 3, and that would be 9. So yes, that's a true statement. And the next one, exactly 4 goals were scored in the game. Well, that can't be. If you have every one that the Dragons get, the Titans scored 3, that would not be a true statement. The Dragons scored 1 of every 4 goals equals 1/4. No, that is not a true statement. The ratio of Dragon goals to Titan goals is 1 to 3. And that is a true statement. Okay, so hopefully you got all of those correct. Let's see. This bottom one may be a little difficult for you to see. But all you need to do is write the ratio in there. Mom made jams and jellies to share with our neighbors. For every 3 jars she shares, 2 will be strawberry jam. And write the ratio of all jars to strawberry jam. So on the product side, write your ratio. And on the process side, write your explanation. Okay, and this you're not going to need much time at all. Take 1.5 minutes, and then we'll check back in. Okay, so for every 3 jars she shares, 2 will be strawberry jam. I want all jars, this tells you the order you're going to be writing it in, all jars to strawberry jam. Okay, and that would be on the product side. Your process is going to basically explain for all of the jars that she makes, 2 of them will be strawberry jam. So if she makes 3 jars, 2 will be strawberry jam. If she makes 6 jars, 4 would be strawberry jam. Okay, and then that would be your explanation. It's a 3-to-2 ratio. And 23, and this is probably going to be the last one that we have time for this math period. So complete the table to show the number of pints for a given number of cups. Well, I want you to create this chart or this table on your product side. You're going to complete your table on the product side, and your process side is going to be your reason for stating that that your answers here are correct. Okay, so taking a look at cups, 2 cups, 1 pint, 4 cups, 2 pints. You're going to be explaining why you put the numbers that you put here when you're completing your table. So take 3 minutes, draw this chart on the product side, complete the chart, and on the process side, explain your thinking. Okay, go. Okay, so I'm looking at my cups and my pints. And I'm looking at 2, and then I have a 1, 4, and then I have a 2. So I'm thinking, what did I do with the 4 to get a 2? Or what did I do with the 2 to get a 4? And if I'm going from pints to cups, then I would be multiplying. If I'm going from cups to pints, I would be dividing. And if I'm dividing, I'm taking this number and I'm getting half of what that number is. Half of 2 is 1. Half of 4 is 2. Half of 10 is 5. Half of 16 is 8. Half of 24 is 12. Half of 30 is 15. Half of 64 is 32. Okay, so your product side would look like this. Your process side would explain what you did. And if I'm looking at, I'm just dividing or taking half of the number, then that's what your explanation would indicate. If you looked at it and you saw another pattern that gave you these same answers, then that's what your process side should be explaining. Okay, and again, this is probably all that we have time for today. Tomorrow is your pull day. So those of you who are going to be going to the pull are going to have fun from 11 to 1. In the morning, there's 2 videos that you're going to be watching. You'll find out what they're going to be about tomorrow. And then if you did not qualify for the pool day, you know that you'll be going to a room where you'll be doing work when everyone else is going and having fun. Either way, I will see you on Thursday. And again, I am counting on you guys to do a really good job. I will see you on Thursday, and bye for now.